All right, welcome back to another module inside the Fit with Foss course. Today we're talking all about cardio, what it is, how to use it, and where it actually fits inside of your journey. Whether you love it, hate it, or have used it in the past for your go-to strategy for fat loss, I want to help you shift your mindset. Cardio is a tool, not a magic bullet. It's not something you have to grind through to see results. But when you use it strategically, it can really support your goals in a meaningful way. In this module, we're going to break down what cardio actually does, how to use it effectively, and how its role changes depending on what phase you're in. So my goal is that you walk away from this with more confidence, more clarity, and less burnout. Because you're going to actually understand when to use cardio, why you're doing it, and how to make it work for you, not against you. Cardio plays a very supportive but small role in helping you stay in the caloric deficit and lose fat, but it shouldn't be the main focus of your fat loss strategy. Do cardio because it's good for your heart, mood, your health, your life expectancy. Don't do cardio just to burn off what you ate. The shift in mindset is what will make cardio feel empowering and not exhausting. So let's talk about what cardio is not. One of the biggest mistakes that I see people make is relying on cardio as their main strategy for fat loss. The more I sweat, the more calories I burn, the more fat I'm going to lose, and the faster that I'm going to see results. Next is you need to do hours of cardio to see results, but that's not how the body works in the long run. Cardio is not a substitute for strength training. It just isn't, and it's definitely not the most effective tool for fat loss. Your nutrition and your daily movement play a much bigger role, as we can see here, than your cardio can ever play. And let's clear this one up too. Cardio doesn't burn fat the way most people think. Fat loss comes from a consistent calorie deficit, not just from running on a treadmill for an hour 5 times a week. Most importantly, cardio is not something you need to use to earn your meals, right? So that kind of logic, that mindset really creates a toxic relationship with movement. In this program, we are leaving that behind. We use cardio as a supportive tool, not as a punishment. It's strategic and not emotional when used that way. It works with you, not against you. So when we say cardio, it's like, what do we actually mean? We're talking about any kind of movement that will increase your heart rate and keep it elevated for a period of time. Okay, that could be walking, jogging, using the stairs, swimming, biking, hiking, honestly, even dancing around your kitchen. If it gets your heart pumping, it challenges your cardiovascular system, it counts. Now, cardio can look different depending on the intensity. You've got LISS cardio, which stands for low intensity steady state, which we'll get into. That's your slower, more consistent movement. And then there's the HIIT, high intensity interval training. This is quick bursts of effort followed by recovery. But before we go any further, I want you to really let this sink in. Cardio is not a punishment. It's not something, again, that we do to burn off a bad day or, we're in trouble because we ate so much food. Now we're just going to do cardio to erase that, okay? Instead, let's reframe it as something that builds your health, improves your energy, and supports your recovery. Now we're going to dive into really the 2 main types of cardio. First, we're going to dive into the 2 main types of cardio because the truth is not all cardio is created equal and each has its own benefits. Let's start with LISS. This stands for low intensity steady state cardio. This is your slower, more consistent movement, the walking, biking, the elliptical, and even the stairs sometimes depending on the level. So LISS is going to take longer to burn calories, but it's much easier on your joints and better for muscular recovery. And because it's gentler, it's easier to stick to week after week, especially if you're already lifting, if you already have a training program, or you're just starting your fitness journey. Now, on the other side, we have high intensity interval training. So HIIT burns more calories in less time, yes, but it also comes with the side effect, really tax your cardiovascular system, your muscles a lot more in this style of cardio, which makes it really hard to recover from. And so if you're already worn out and you already have a level of fatigue from your normal lifting, training, resistance program, it doesn't make a lot of sense to have a ton of this style cardio because of the law of diminishing returns. At some point, this cardio is going to take away from your strength training, and that's not what we want, okay? And so here is your takeaway. If you're newer to fitness or you want something that's more sustainable, easier to be consistent with, start with LISS. Simple, effective, and it plays nicely with your strength training. You don't need to go full beast mode to get results. Just move with intention. So let's talk about this thing called the fat burning zone. I know you've probably heard it before. This isn't just a trendy gym term. This is an actual concept based on how our body uses different fuel sources at different heart rate levels. Here is the breakdown. When your heart rate is at about 60 to 70% of your max, your body's more likely to use fat as its primary energy source, and that's what we want. You can calculate your personal fat burning zone like this. You want to start with 220 and you're gonna minus your age. Okay, so for example, we're gonna use a 30-year-old individual here. And so we're gonna go 220 minus 30, which is going to give us a total of 190. And then next, we're going to find 60 to 70% of 190. So we're going to multiply 0.6 and 0.7 to get your target heart rate range. So like this. So for this individual, their heart rate range for optimal fat burning zone is between 114 and 133. That is going to be your sweet spot. When you're doing your low intensity steady state cardio, really like brisk walk, your bike rides, incline treadmill, you don't have to be obsessive, super duper obsessive about tracking your heart rate, but it's a helpful guide, especially if you're wearing a watch or you're using cardio equipment that shows it. Right? And so here's your reminder, and I just want you to remember, you do not need to crush your body with intensity to burn fat. In fact, staying in this moderate heart rate range, this zone, often leads to better fat loss, better recovery, and more consistency. It's not about doing more, it's about doing it smarter. Now that we understand what cardio actually is and what it's not, let's talk about how to use it wisely inside of a fat loss plan. So we want to start small. Add a few extra walks in the week, go a little bit longer each day, or aim to be more consistent. Gradually increase your daily steps. Ideally, we want between 8 to 10,000 steps per day, but if you're an individual who's starting and you're at 3,000 average, we don't want you to just shoot up to 8,000. Let's work our way up to that. And then when you're able to stay consistent with your step goal, you can later add in 1 to 2 structured cardio sessions at the gym. And here's the truth, if you're struggling to hit a daily step goal, adding intense cardio sessions on top of that isn't going to be sustainable. That's why the best cardio for fat loss, especially to get started, is simply moving more throughout your day and walking more often. It's low stress, high reward, and way easier to stick with. And consistency is the name of the game. So here's what we don't want to do, kind of pretty much the exact opposite, but let's get into it. We don't want to add a ton of cardio all at once. That is going to set us up for absolute failure. Don't spend half of your gym time on the treadmill. Absolutely not. Under no circumstances should you be prioritizing your cardio over your strength training. Absolutely not. Strength training is always first. It's not a sustainable strategy if you were to do these. It's exactly what leads to burnout, to plateaus, and to frustration. So let's go ahead and recap. Here's what I want you to walk away with when it comes to cardio. Cardio is a supportive tool, not a requirement. It's not the main driver for fat loss, and it's definitely not something that you need to overdo. Think of it as an enhancer, not the foundation. Nutrition and strength training are the two real powerhouses when it comes to body composition changes. That's where the focus needs to be first. Cardio just adds a little extra support, especially when done strategically. Use it wisely. Lifting heavy, walking more, and focusing on your recovery, you might not need much cardio at all. But if you enjoy it or if it helps you hit your step goal, awesome. Let's make it work inside of your plan. And most importantly, I need you to ditch the punishment mindset. You never have to earn your food or make up for a rest day. That is not how we do things here. When cardio is used with purpose, it supports your fat loss, improves your health, and helps you feel more energized, not more burnt out. Now, here is your journal prompt for this module. How do I currently view cardio? Is it from a place of fear, control, empowerment? What would it look like to have a healthy relationship with cardio moving forward? Be honest with yourself here, because how you feel about cardio is just as important as how often you do it. We will see you guys on the next one. Peace. If you found value in this, stick around for more, baby.